know Dave's a professional, so
Yo, you wasted
straight
time.
face. Yep,
You wasted time, B.
that's on you. You want to do intro?
Once we know what episode it is.
Oh, what numbers? Own guys captured me. That's why.
Oh, guys, got you. You need duck.
Please do the introduction. Leave me alone.
All right, cool. Welcome everyone to No Wahala, the podcast. This is episode 84.
Okay.
We are outside. This is your boy Tune Day. I'm here with
Bawo.
Super Lord and our special guest,
Yes, sir.
the blue-haired warrior,
Talk about it.
What's up, family? What up?
the contagious one.
Contagious one.
His love is contagious.
No, continue.
Boom, boom.
Continue.
Because
Because we're in a pandemic, so you can't just dash somebody contagious.
he actually was gracious enough to share his,
I'm loving the
With us,
references.
right?
I'm loving the references.
ladies and gentlemen, WurlD.
Yo, thanks for having me, brother.
Of course, man.
Thank you
Yeah.
for coming. How you feeling?
Good, chill, man. Like, I'm enjoying the quiet times right now for me. Transitioning before the next show, the next, traveling and stuff. I'm just enjoying the quiet times. Yeah.
Lovely.
How long are you in New York for?
A few more days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's been the highlight of your trip so far?
Highlight, honestly, just connecting with people. London was amazing.
London was amazing.
London was amazing. Central Park was amazing. Just connecting with people. Honestly, like for me, I had a performance at Central Park with everyday people.
Summer stage.
It's like summer stage. Amazing time.
Yeah.
Killed it.
But the the most rewarding part was that I had to perform to mostly people that don't know who I am. Let's say like even people may have heard one or two songs, but it was a first introduction to a lot of people, and I had to perform. I didn't have to depend on getting the sing back. So I was really up there to perform and just really just connect in the most natural form. And it was just a beautiful experience for me.
It was great. You played a lot of old stuff. You played some new stuff.
Yeah.
It was a nice, healthy balance.
Yeah, thanks.
Boom.
I think that's great because obviously you're a great writer. A lot of
Thanks.
people don't know of your work with other artists, so I think it's always great when you perform some of them as well. And I think the way the sound is moving out of the continent, you're obviously going to be meeting new fans when all the show. So that was dope
Absolutely.
to see that, and you explain it that way, where you're connecting with a new group of people.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
dope. That's absolutely dope.
Speaking of writing, what is some of the earlier work you've done on the writing
That
side?
the people that might not know about.
Man, you know what? I was working with Mario. I was writing songs for Mario.
No small feat.
I was working with B.O.B. I was writing hooks and working with him. And he had a no genre label. The time Scotty ATL, London J. And this was when I was used to live in ATL. This was before Show You Off. Right? And Show You Off just switched everything for me. As far as like getting me closer back to the African community. And that really redirected my path in a way to a beautiful place where I'm happy to feel closer. Because prior to that, I was an ATL boy, like literally. I'm just so grateful. And it feels like it's still just beginning because there's still so much more on the way, honestly. I wish people can actually come behind the scenes and see what's really coming. And it's the best is just still yet to come.
How long did you live in Atlanta?
I lived there for like almost 17 years.
It was
I went to college there too.
Yeah, I was about to say you
Georgia
started
State.
high school.
Yeah, I went to Georgia State too. Like,
Yes.
yeah.
So you started high school, you left Nigeria, started high school in
Yeah.
ATL, and then, so how would you describe that transition? Because obviously, we're talking about music growing out the continent. You have the sound you were listening to when you're in Nigeria, you move over, and now Atlanta is a whole different vibe. Obviously now we're a closer, community from Atlanta to Lagos and the other cities, but what was transition like musically for you?
I didn't start making music till I lived in Atlanta. So for me, compared to a lot of my peers, I started in Atlanta. But I had a very strong African background in childhood
Gotcha.
that never changed and never went away. People meet me, I'm like, yo, I speak Yoruba more than a lot of people, right? I speak Pidgin more than a lot of people. But because I lived abroad, like, you get to mix a lot of the tonalities and just accent. But for me, musically, I started in Atlanta and transitioning back, fusing my music with Afro beats, and it comes natural because I have a strong Nigerian African background that never went away. It makes people like, yo, why does it sound American still African and at the same time seamlessly? It's because I'm really being myself. I'm not trying to be anything that I'm not. I understand the communication being a Nigerian. I'm not trying to reconnect. I understand.
Right.
All my friends, we speak as we speak. So I understand the mindset and the way we think, the way we move. That communication is really music at the end of the day.
So where were you born?
I was born in Lagos. I was born in Nigeria.
What area?
I was born in Mushin.
Mushin?
Yeah.
So easy there.
I mean,
No, see, I won't take street credibility because I was just a kid there.
Right.
We moved out, but that was where I was born.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of moves because now, obviously, there's a musical journey. You said it started later. My question now, because we get a lot of people listening to the genre now, were you listening to because you could be Nigerian, not necessarily listen to Nigerian music in Nigeria. Because when I was younger, I grew up in Lagos as well, and it's like, yes, I was listening to music, but I was also very into hip hop while in Nigeria, and I would keep up with that scene. What were you listening to while in Nigeria?
For me, I was listening to everything. Like my parents made us listen to a lot of Fuji music. My parents listened to a lot of like Barista, Shino Peters, Juju music, Akbala.
Okay.
For me, I didn't get introduced to Afrobeats till later. But my family, like my dad, like my mom, they were more. My dad like celebrated like Fuji musicians. He was into that circle.
Traditional folk.
Yeah, he was one of those guys that stepped on stage and tried to outspend everyone.
Okay. He needs his name.
But
he needs his name pronounced right a bit.
Yeah. So like for me, like that was the first type of music that I was introduced to. I found everything else by myself. I found R&B by myself. I found hip hop music by myself.
Were you influenced by any like or African R&B artists? Or
no. Honestly, like even when I lived in Nigeria at a very young age, like for me, I've always seen myself like, if I want to do this, I want to do music, right? But I want to do it in America. I want to do it on the big stage. I want to, like, I don't know what that interpretation was, but that was always been an image that I saw. And I didn't really start creating music till I found myself in Atlanta. I started doing like, going to talent shows, started like really trying to navigate, meet producers, meet songwriters. And that was just the perfect place.
Wherever.
And songwriting, that was how I got into songwriting actually. Because Akon was the representation of what African pop star was.
Yep.
In America.
Oh yeah.
That was the image of it.
That was
and really, that was the first and only really at the time.
Did we give Wale some love on that?
No. Akon was definitely
the more.
No, I'm saying, did we give him after?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. And you know, I feel like even at the early stages, a lot of people did not even know Wale was Nigerian because people really.
You're right.
But Akon had
they associate him with DC.
Exactly. Akon had the African background, and you know it. But the sound and the image and everything was very pop.
I get what you're saying.
And me being just an African kid, like in that space, people really didn't know what another one looked like. They only just recognized Akon. And for me, people needed songwriters.
Yeah.
I had a passion for songwriting, and that was how I got into rooms, because everybody was signed, labels were signing a lot of artists, but they needed songwriters. And being an African kid at the time too, for me, I had to work 4, 5, 6 times harder. I've heard more no's in my life than yes. So like people see me like, yo, blue hair, and like I'm really about this. Like I'm about the art. Like I'm dedicated. Yeah. I mean, I've been in country, I've worked with country musicians, I've worked with rap artists, I've done hooks for hip hop musicians, I've done I've worked with R&B musicians, I've done hooks and stuff for house musicians.
Who's your favorite country artist you've worked with? We're gonna go through all the genres.
Oh my goodness,
every genre?
Man. Man, I'm a fan of everybody. I don't like.
No.
I get
I'm
it.
a fan. I'm a fan. Listen,
Keep the checks
because
coming, I get it.
everybody's. Listen, everyone. I feel like everybody's special in their own way. So I'm just a fan of
That's
just
an artist.
unique artists, and everybody's doing their thing.
There's a better way to ask this question.
Okay.
Uh-uh.
You're trying to get
You're trying to get in trouble.
All right, no, it's all good.
I'm
It's not.
I'm kidding.
It's chill.
I'm gonna switch
I'm
it
kidding,
up. So like, what artists would you say you worked with where it got you feeling like this is the path for you, and you really have what made you believe in what it is you have?
Producer.
Oh, that's
It wasn't an artist. It was
Got you.
producer. Because the artist sessions were very intense. The labels, and it was all on time. You had to show something. You had to go in the booth and try to be
Because I know
exceptional.
you did some competitions and you won. So it was,
Yeah. You have to go, and people put you on a clock. You have to be exceptional within a certain amount of time.
Got
create music. And for me, I fell in love with the art of taking your time to create music, because we're not creating music to last for a month. We're creating this art for a lifetime. What was that question again?
The producer you were going to
Producer, yeah. I actually found myself working with a producer, this amazing producer I met in Atlanta. His name is D. Smith.
Okay.
D. Smith produced a record on Lil Wayne's album many years ago, Shoot Me Down.
It was Carter 3.
Yeah.
Please don't shoot me down.
And it was him singing as well. It was him singing. Yeah, amazing producer. I met him. When I met him, I was like very R&B. And he met me and was like, yo, I think you could do more than this. Right? It took me under his wing to just learn. We started creating music and we started experimenting. He was like, man, I see you more like Seal, Bon Jovi. I like your tone. We could try some other thing. He's a genius, musical genius. So for me, I got to experience something different, way beyond my imagination of even how I was seeing myself. But I was just watching a very unorthodox way of creating music. I became a fan of that, right? And we started experimenting music and different things. We did maybe about 4 records. All the records we did was very WorlD, very Seal, very Bon Jovi. It's just, you can't really put it in a box.
Right.
I felt comfortable with that, right? This was me transitioning from songwriting to being an artist. And even my real name is Sadiq, right? And I was still going by Sadiq then.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. And we did the songs, and we were he was like, I love Sadiq, but it doesn't even represent these songs anymore. It just felt like a different day, different thing. It's just bigger than what I imagined, but it felt right. That's how the name WurlD came about. I later changed it to it was initially WorlD, but it's changed it to WurlD, which is World with You in it. That's the title of my new album, My World with You. So it's My World with You. So with everything
that making eye contact with me, I beg, please.
Yeah, no, it's
He's
I caught a
for.
moment. I caught the moment. World with You, and I was like, okay.
you know what?
I'm
It's
thinking.
I feel like
I
I've
feel
become.
that.
We connected.
Right.
Honestly, I've become an instrument of everything that I've experienced, from living in Nigeria to living in the US, to people, to relationships, to friendship, all those things. You collect so much data, right, as a human being. And for me, my art is music, and I just share that through that, Yeah.
That's dope. Now, go ahead. Now, I was going to ask, because now, obviously, I've spoken to a lot of artists that work here and then takes that trip to Nigeria. And I can't tell you I've heard good things from the people who've done it.
Yeah.
What was your experience like? And were you excited previous to it? And what was reality like when you land and you're this artist with a resume, you're used to dealing with America and the way things work. And then you go to Nigeria, and obviously I wouldn't call it vibes and inshallah, but it's very close.
You know what? I learned very fast that back home, the fans and the people don't really like the more Americanized Nigerian artists and stuff. Not that they don't like it, it's just a bit more, it's too clean.
You got to prove yourself.
No, it's just too clean. And it's like they expect you to feel like you're better your energy. It's just a vibe, the way you talk. It's just like, oh, you boo guy, just got back. You know,
IJGB.
no, really, but that's more like the vibe. But for me, like I think a lot of people didn't realize like how much of a Nigerian background I have, and I still had even when I went back home. And I was blessed. Honestly, it's a blessing. I was just being myself. I had Show You Off. I had Trobul before going. So people had like at least like an introduction to the sound, and the love was pure.
Okay.
And all I had to do, honestly, was just be myself. I didn't just go and come back. I spent time there. I was doing radio shows in Ibadan. I was showing up in places that people never thought. And prior to that, I seemed so far away, right? And I was showing up to like I was going to Port Harcourt to do interviews. I was in Ibadan. I was going to Amala spots. I was all across. I was all over Lagos. I went to Abuja. I went to Kenya. I went to South Africa. For me, like I really wanted to make a real connection and not just go and come back. I spent time. You know, I damn near like spend more of my time in Nigeria now. Yeah, and I just travel from there everywhere else. Yeah.
So talk to us about what led up to the creation of your first release. It was your first full-length project.
Love is Contagious.
Yes.
Oh man, that was my transition back to Nigeria, and that project was that's the one with Show You Off and Contagious.
Because you released Show You Off first.
Yeah, then Contagious, then we're at Paranoid and Drown, and that was really just me transitioning back and learning. You know, I want to introduce the body of work to reintroduce myself again and have something to share. Actually, I was working on I Love Girls with Trouble at the same time.
Oh, wow.
People didn't know. Like I was working on both projects at the same time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was because I Love Girls with Trouble. I met SARZ in 2017.
Shout out to SARZ.
Yeah.
Great project.
Love is Contagious came out 2019. I think March. No. Was there either March or May? 2019. I Love Girls with Trouble came out November 2019. Same year.
The single stuck out to me, especially because Show You Off was such a smooth,
Chill.
It felt like a modernized High Life record, kind of.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Absolutely. Shout out to Sheezy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Magic
Sheezy
Fingers
as well. Yes.
Amazing. That was honestly Show You Off really changed. I remember. Shout out to DJ E Cool. Right, he was the first DJ to ever play Show You Off.
That's awesome.
I remember I called him. He lives in Atlanta too. We both live in Atlanta. A lot of people know me for doing more alternative sound music, more like just different stuff. And when I remember inviting him to the studio when I made Show You Off and I played it, he looked at me, he's like, yo, guy, you are never gonna be able to go back to what you were making once you release this song. I'm sure you know that. And it was hard. It was hard. Like it was really hard because everything just went like this. But the love was real, it was pure. And you have to follow that. That made me kind of like, you know what? I love this idea of being part of a cultural conversation of something that I am. That's what I am. Yeah. Because I was doing a lot of like I was on B.O.B's album. As a featured artist, we had like about 5 songs out.
That's awesome.
But the thing about it was that even those records that I was doing, they were dope and all that, but the love was very mid because there was still a communication and connection to who I was, which was very important, you know. And I would go to like a video shoot with like maybe like a Trinidad James. I was working with Trinidad as well too, or like Scotty ATL. I would go to a video shoot in their neighborhood, and I would feel how connected they were with their community.
Their tribe.
Man, I was just an African guy doing R&B music, but there was still, people loved the music, but it was there was a heavy level of disconnection. I wanted that for myself too.
Right.
And, you know, honestly.
The other thing that I really love about Show You Off and Contagious is that they were both very experimental.
Yeah.
Right? So obviously Show You Off had its sound, but then Contagious was very Fuji.
Yeah.
It was very.
So I'm gonna point you to something. I realized the other day. I was like, yo, every song I've ever put out, all experimental song, none of my songs sounds the same.
You could literally play a Collington song and then play Contagious right after, and nobody would even know that they were.
Yeah.
So I think that's always interesting because I feel like artists now coming out the country, like there's this fight to figure out what genre. Not to box everybody, but it's like it's a playlisting world now. Everyone's trying to show up in this place, link with this artist, and get X amount of plays. So it's always interesting, like when you listen to WurlD and you're getting this sound, this vibe, you know what I mean? And it's a full body of work that has a cohesion to it, but it's hard to just say WurlD is this. Obviously you have the name that gives it WurlD music, but everybody like diving into our sound now wants to know what to associate it with, and that's very difficult because the last black country to have this wave would be Jamaica, and Jamaica was easier to say this is the sound.
Yep.
I was having a conversation with someone backstage, summer stage, and he just kept asking me questions. I was like, is this an interview, right? And a lot of the questions he was asking me were very, you switch the sound on us every time, right? Because I realized even for me too, I have people that are like, I have Show You Off fans, I have Contagious fans, and I have I Love Girls with Trouble fans. But all these songs were all intentional. When I met SARZ, I heard a sound. One of the most amazing producer I've ever worked with. Like we both have something in common. We are both overachievers with our art. He's constantly pushing to try new things. He's fearless with his approach because he's not trying to repeat anything he's done. I'm not trying to repeat anything I've done. So every time we get together, it's just weird. It's just, I can't even explain it. We're working on a part 2 of the project right now. And I sit back and I listen like, what the F?
Yeah, no, SARZ is nuts.
Because
you're both nuts, obviously.
Because the things that we've created recently, words can't really explain it. It's because when we did Trobul was the first of its kind. When we did Mad, it was the first of its kind. Show You Off was the first of its kind too. Contagious is just what it was, but it's just like you only have one life to do all this most amazing things that you think of and dream of. Like, you just have to give it a shot.
Is there a genre that you've always wanted to tap into that you haven't tapped into yet?
My core genre, I started introducing it a little bit more in this most recent album.
Okay.
Because
My WurlD With You.
My WurlD With You, yeah. This one is more personal. You hear more of like the urban soul world in this one. I really wanted to. I felt like I waited so long to do it, but I just had to do it. The conversations a lot. It shows my state of mind a lot more. What my struggles, my flaws. A lot of people from Show You Off like, I use your song to, but this time this is me very flawed, just like a lot of my fellow guys, and really I wanted to talk about a lot of the conversations that were uncomfortable. This is the most uncomfortable album you're probably gonna listen to. I know people still catching up, but when they get to it, like this is like one of the most raw projects the most personal project I've ever released.
So what made this the right time? Because you said you waited, but you felt like it had to be done. What made this the right time?
The title My WurlD With You is really like my world with everything around me and my struggles. I really wanted to share that. I'm like, the project starts with a song called These Days Love Don't Change. I'm just saying I want to be successful, but this time with my peers, with my homies, with people beside me. Not oneness. I want to be successful with my community.
Yes, sir.
I dive into overthinking. I had a song on there called Overthinking. I'm always overthinking, even when I find something that feels right. Relationships.
You're a perfectionist.
Yeah, even relationships. I'm always overthinking it because of past situations. You think something is repetitive. Even when it feels right, you're doubting if this could be it. And that doubt sometimes messes it up. I can't stop overthinking.
So
this is like, there's a lot of like, the conversations are so raw. And there's more black and white. I wasn't in fairy tale world at all. Yeah.
So my thing now is because we talk about mental health a lot. So would you say like you're in a good mental space is why that leads to that project being what it is? So you're not
Absolutely.
lying to yourself. You're not lying to your fans. You're really just that. So you're able to have those conversations with yourself.
This is a pandemic project as well because that was part of like that was the period I created this particular album.
Sure. Makes sense.
And they reflected a lot of the conversations. When I first started the project, I was very commercially intentional.
Gotcha.
I felt like I had something to prove. And I think I removed like 80% of all those intentionally commercial records. There was like, those records are still gonna come out, right? At its time. But I went more in depth with the conversation. I really felt the need to have some conversations for timeless reasons. Yeah.
That's dope.
Very, very cool. So with I Love Girls with Trouble EP.
Talk to me.
Those records were so fun to listen to because it was like all the, I'm not gonna say toxic, but all the themes all the themes that I'm familiar with
as
R&B records that are non-African with an African twist.
Yeah.
So I loved it.
Amazing.
Each record back to back, I was like, abso-fucking-lutely.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what is part 2? And then
we get a different sound.
Bro.
I'm happy you took your time though.
It's exciting to be doing a part 2. More so, I feel like me and SARZ, we're in a very great space. We've both gone through so much separately, individually, in the past few years. And I think when we came back and reconnected, I feel like it's a different, higher level of appreciation and love that we share for just brotherhood and respect for each other. And it's showing in the music, the choices, the things that we're doing, this type of conversations, the sound choices, the moods. It's showing in that as well. Because the first one is just like, I mean, that project was so intentional. Like every song, every mood, every rhythm. Because I've always been a big fan of lyrics. Because just the world that I come from, even from Show You Off, it was all about lyrics and stuff. But when I met SARZ and this rhythm and this commercial sound, I knew that it was a problem when I do what I do with what he does.
It was a good pairing.
It was a good pairing. And we could just continue to do that. Like, I mean, the music just gets better. Just when you think you're not going to get anything that you got before.
That's exciting.
Because before, no, you're not going to get what you got before. Just winning, right? So people got to keep an open mind. Because before we made Trobul, people didn't imagine a song like that. Before we made Mad, it was not imagined. You just heard it and like, oh, wow, I need this. So it's going to be a lot of vibes that people didn't know they needed until they hear it.
What was out of all the records you've put together, what was the record that was most fun to make for you?
Oh, we'll talk about the old ones because the new ones are not out yet. I'll tell you the hardest one too.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. Most fun for me was, let me see. We had Prisoner, Sade, Trobul. Trobul was smooth.
Yeah.
Trobul was easy, smooth. Trobul was fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not the hardest.
The hardest one was Mad.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. It's the funniest story ever. So while we're creating that project, this was me spending more time in Nigeria.
Okay.
So I still had a lot of like my very American stiff side where, for example, backstory, when I did Show You Off, the Oma Bami Dele, I recorded it and I played it for friends. They loved it. And the second time when it came around, I took it out. I took the Yoruba out.
Oh, wow.
And I remember one of my friends was like, yo, guy, where is the Yoruba? You want me to slap you? Right? I was like, yo.
Taking the vibes away.
No. It was because I was still unsure if I wanted to start diving into adding the Yoruba and stuff.
Yeah.
So Mad was the last song we finished on that project.
Oh, wow.
And when I first did, if you listen to Mad, it's a very pop record.
Yes.
So Dealing With My Stress is straight R&B pop conversation. The entire record sounded like if you heard like a Travis Scott an Usher mix record. That was how the entire record sounded. And the Bimbilimbi was something I did at the end.
Oh, and you brought it to the front.
Right.
It was very cool.
Right. And SARZ was like, yo. And at that time, he told me, he was like, yo, this project is not done until we do something for Africa. But that entire song was so pop. The Bimbilimbi was just the fun part that I added at the end. It's like, no, we're not gonna put this at the end. We'll put it at the beginning. But even then, he wasn't satisfied with me. He said, this theme, I need, because he's seen me do it with Prisoner, with the Yoruba and the Pidgin here and there. But I was still like, I was just getting small, stay in my international space. And he kept fussing me, and I was like, I want this project to be out. And I felt like he was holding back. I felt like he was holding back.
Yeah.
And I remember in the ATL, and I was actually mad. I changed the entire verses. I kept the hook. So I changed the entire verses that I had. I loved it so much because it was more American, the world that I was familiar with, but I knew what it was going to do. The conversation would have connected more with the rest of the world than Nigeria and Africa. The verses that I had, we kept the hook. And I just went back in, make me know the way. Then I was actually upset when I was creating that verse. I was mad.
Really?
If you listen to,
Why were you upset?
Because I was so in love with the original version.
Oh, wow. Why don't you put that one out as an alternate version?
But one of the best decisions was creating that alternative version. Because
you did?
No. The Pidgin, make me know the way.
Yeah.
But it was me actually just letting go.
Gotcha.
You know, and the connection of it was a choice. We would have connected more with the rest of the world than Africa and Nigeria with that record.
Would you ever put out the version you intended to put out originally? Like even as like a as an aside? You know,
we never know. Just, you know, maybe like Audio Mac something for people to enjoy. Maybe, but maybe not.
I think it would be cool to have your fans kind of see your artistic process. And
that
was one of the first things you said.
It was so fun. Like that verse was so wavy.
Yeah.
Right? It was the world that I lived in. So I was like, because he was like, even the Yorubas that I did in some of the records, it felt like it wasn't enough. Even the Sade said it was not enough.
Sounds like a behind the scenes waiting to happen.
That's what I'm saying. Like maybe years later, like telling the story of how it all became.
Exactly.
That'd be dope.
But the thing about us when we work together is like there's no ego. For me, like it was like even with getting back together, it feels like the first time. There's no ego. There's no, this my way is the only way. We're both just so open and humble with the art. Like when I say humble, like we're so detailed and very vulnerable with it and open with it and just like and like, okay, this you'd feel like we're just learners and just doing this for the first time. And that's where the true magic is.
That's amazing.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Is there an artist that you've always wanted to work with that you haven't worked with yet?
A lot. Kanye, Kendrick, J. Cole, Kalani. I can't think of. So it's a lot of artists, you know. Yeah.
How about producers?
Producers, I've worked with a lot of producers I want to work with. I'm still, most of the producers I want to work with, both home and abroad, I've worked with.
Okay.
A lot of like the new stuff that I'm doing, just new producers that I've always wanted to work with. This new music, it's like I'm starting to even achieve those goals now, which is good.
So my thing, obviously we were talking about you and your community and the genuine love when you get that sound out of the situation. In working with artists, are you thinking your sound to them, or are you like looking at just experimenting again and you already, obviously these artists have a type of sound where you're like, I could see myself doing my thing on that?
For me, I respect the art and I respect everyone. Because I'm so very particular energy-wise as well, when I decide to work with you, I am really putting all my ego out the door when I walk into that room, because I'm walking in to learn. I'm walking in to respect you, as amazing as you are, and I'm just really there to just add whatever I feel, and learn at the same time. It's different when I'm collaborating with an artist. Is one thing. I'm adding vibes here and there. Let's try this. I'm taking from your ideas as well, which is it's a collaborative process. When I'm writing for artists, I really put myself completely out of it. We have conversations first. I love to have conversations. I'm not trying to just create a song from my story and perspective for you to just sing. I want it to just feel as natural as possible. And I want to put you involved with it as possible. So when I walk away, you don't feel like you just took a song from me. Yeah. You own this record and you're excited to perform it because we had conversations and we created something based on your conversations and it feels natural. Yeah.
Okay. So on that note, how was making Sweet in the Middle?
Wow.
Because you have multiple artists, obviously different sounds. I think it has a lot of world sound.
Another Shizzy collaboration.
Yeah,
right.
Shizzy, yeah.
That record is perfect.
It's
perfect
literally
record.
perfect.
Yeah.
So, but how does that come out? How do you feel about it? How does your fan base feel about it? Do they fall in love with it like, the rest of
Sweet in the Middle is like one of the most genius Afrobeat collaboration ever made, I think. Because of the diversity in the artists on that record. and how it worked.
The intro reminds me of Mad a bit. You're kind of you're doing the scatting.
Yeah, my baby.
That was
I'll tell you how this record came along.
Okay.
So we did Blow My Mind in the past.
Yes.
That was a record me and Shizzy worked on for David. And I remember going to LA and we connected. Shizzy was in LA as well, went to the studio. Which is vibing. I created 2 songs that day. Story, a song called Story from my Afro Soul project.
Okay.
And Sweet in the Middle. Those are the 2 songs I created that day, which is vibing. And I remember my energy was more story. Sweet in the Middle was an experiment for me.
Beautiful.
I was playing around.
Just
so Sweet in the Middle.
Flex.
Beautiful.
Small flex. Just, one of the greatest songs.
So,
it was just playing around.
Honestly, for real. So Sweet in the Middle was such a...
Continue.
I played it on the way here.
Continue.
No,
that shit is fire. We overplayed that shit when it dropped.
But Shizzy knows me so well. Story was my vibe because it has so much soul and stuff in it.
Story's a bit slow.
Right?
Well laid.
Sexy.
And I was working at Afro Soul. That was the vibe of what I was doing for that. And Shizzy knew that this WorlD guy is going to put this song on his laptop.
And nice.
Never release it.
And he was right.
He was right. He was so right.
Shout out to Shizzy, by the way.
He was so right. And he played it for David. And David hit me up. He's like, yo, bro, she's playing me something again. We got to do this. And it was like, yo, let's do this one together.
He's an excitable guy. So
he was like, yo, let's do this one together. I was like, well, yes, let's do it.
That's amazing.
I responded immediately because I knew I wasn't going to do nothing with it. On God, you guys would have never heard Sweet in the Middle.
You were
ever.
Sitting on that record?
Bro,
he would have been.
You know how many things I'm sitting on? And I think people need to just come and
collab.
Rush me to the studio one of these days and just be like, yo.
Say less.
But
give me the record.
But it was the same energy of how I almost did not do like the mad verse.
Ah, okay.
Do you get the logic?
Kind of had to be coerced.
Do you get the logic, right? And
we need you on Insta Story, just like playing beats and let it
bring back
original
the beat
shit, right?
Yeah, let people
no, it's crazy.
hear it. And
so he was in LA as well. Dave was in LA, and we linked up, and the magic started coming together. And he was like, "Yo, we need another verse from you. Give me another verse." I was like, "Yo, let's do this one together, on this one, like me featuring you." And that was. And I created a new verse. That's the one with the sweet potato that everyone heard.
Oh, my sweet potato.
Yeah. So I created another verse, a third verse. The third verse, part of the third verse was so amazing. I'm gonna have to play it in somewhere, maybe like
play it now. Play it here.
No.
Play it here.
The third verse that I created was It was so amazing. Part of it is what you guys hear. My baby.
Oh, okay.
This one now, what's up?
So that's the beginning of the verse?
It was another verse. That part was so sick. And she was like, yo, we cannot lose this part. We just
Mukhtar,
put it in the beginning.
do you have the verse?
He's knocked out.
Mook is knocked. He has the verse. He has the verse. He faked sleeping.
The verse on purpose.
He faked sleeping.
Oh, God, fall asleep immediately.
But that's end. Shout out to David. I gotta give it to him, man. Like the way he A&R'd that record and thought. I don't know what kind of spirit he had. Because initially it was just me and him on the song.
Mm-hmm. About Naira Marley.
Right. And he thought like, Naira, Zlatan, and honestly,
Zlatan's verse is so flagrant.
Yeah.
So flagrant.
Listen.
What?
You can't play that around family
even
members.
Naira's verse.
Listen, I remember the first time I heard it, it was different, you know. And for me,
Naira's verse
I was scared.
Right.
Let me tell you what. No. Because it was, we had a vision. It was just me and David, but his vision with four of us was just so it's like cooking something like one of the best dish ever.
You know what it is?
And
It was like an R&B. What it reminded me of is like, you know, in the 90s, like 90s, early 2000s, you had like those R&B ballads that had the hip hop verses, like "Best of Me" with Maya and Jay-Z. That's kind of what it felt like, or like
the flavor in the record is you can't recreate something like that.
Or like
the bad boy era where you have Diddy and 112 and all, you know, it's like that merger of like hip hop ballads. That's what it kind of felt like, because I mean, you and David on the record would have been solid.
Yeah,
but I think all the elements that came together brought it over the top.
It just so much it's really like bringing different worlds together, and it was so magical. And I remember walking on set like David went in.
Yeah,
like the set was probably one of the biggest sets I've been on. From Swin and Middle, like the set was so massive. I mean, like you know, you just gotta appreciate when you even create music with an artist and they push it way beyond, you know, just to even create their own version of it and make it what it was. Like, shout out to David.
It was just a very sexy.
That has to feel amazing, where it's like, I probably was just gonna chill with this song and maybe play it randomly for vibes. And now this song, you know, I mean, you get on that set and you see all this. That has to feel crazy.
The song would have never come out.
That has to feel crazy.
And Sheezy knew me well. He knew when I
Shout
walked out. He knew me
Shizzy.
well. Then when I walked out, this war guy is going to be and he was so right, you know.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Like,
shout out to everybody involved.
Shout out to everybody.
That was one of the first records that I heard Naira on that wasn't like a rapidy rap record.
Yeah.
True.
Like, it showed how diverse, even Zlatan too, it really kind of showed that they could float on a
I'm trying to get him back to create some new stuff. Like,
I mean,
try to keep this.
Let's make it happen.
You know, like, I feel like Africa's in such a great space right now that we could do so much even with ourselves, collaboration, and create wider sound by ourselves without having to feature XYZ to make that even that sonic that we're looking for.
Definitely.
I already started doing that already, actually. I can't wait to share. It's just a lot of magic in the works.
When he wakes up, don't worry, we'll hack the hard drive.
No, I think that's absolutely amazing, and I think a lot of credit should go to obviously people who discover music by themselves, but a lot of our parents really had great music taste. Like, you know, a lot of our homes weren't just like Nigerian music. Like, now you get the kids of those parents coming out and you hear kids in Nigeria making music that are not Afro beats or not Afro pop, like full blown can just be in that genre. Like, they're kids making straight up country music, straight up R&B music, you know, and falling in love with that sound. And it's just like, good chance they were introduced to it by
people are getting inspired every day.
It's a beautiful feeling.
Like the fearlessness. Like, I remember before I even started doing the Afrobeat fusion stuff, most of the Afrobeat songs were like faster rhythm. Like, you lose your
songs.
You lose your hips.
You got to be able to dance.
Yeah. You lose your hips in the process, like, for real. And everything is slower now. It's more conversational. I'm hearing it every day.
Well, it's also, you got to think about which artists are conversational artists, which artists are actually lyrical enough, to deliver.
But guess what though?
Some of them are not lyrical, and the vibes are still there.
But check this out.
Production is still there.
True.
But here, even artists that never really give you like the conversations are giving you conversations now, because it's like we're evolving every day. We're inspiring each other every day.
Yeah.
To be honest, and it's only going to get better because I say like the world should be ready for the next generation of artists coming. Because imagine the artists that are inspired by David, the artists inspired by Wiz, the artists inspired that Burner inspires, the artist that Thames inspires, the artist that I inspire. They're like, listen, they're gonna be coming with so many different, like they're like watching, like, oh, he did that. I'm coming. I can do that.
No, yeah.
I can even do bigger than that. Now they're dreaming wilder, not just locally. Everybody's like, yo, I can go, I can make it, I can do this, I can get a Grammy now too.
Yeah,
I can.
It's important.
It's that energy. You'd be surprised what that
breaking
really
a lot of barriers as well, because obviously with every project you've given sounds, and you've done, like you said, they're experimental sounds, so to speak, because you know they're new to certain ears.
Absolutely.
But it's like the next person can use that as their foundation.
Absolutely.
To run with it. Producers as well. So
Absolutely.
It's dope to even think writing where it's like you're sharing yourself in the last project with, and being comfortable with, this is what I'm going through. These are my battles, and this is my conversation with myself. So it's like kids
crazy.
will listen to this, and what are they
that.
going to give us?
Yeah, I was playing the album for someone. I won't mention names.
Okay.
I'm not. I just try not to name.
Should we throw alphabets out there?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
But and she said, it's like, yo, wow, this is incredible. It sounds like you're featuring yourself.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like, yo.
I think that's growth, though.
So like, sounds like you're featuring yourself on the songs. Have you listened to the new album? Have you had a chance yet?
I've heard. Yeah, I've heard most of it.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, need you to. So it's just like and I'm already like, I'm still like promoting this album for a while because still some special things I'm trying to get out to complete the narrative. People have only seen like the first phase of it and working on the second phase of it, just finalizing the vision board for that, God willing. So it just really, the next sounds is already laid out. The next music, the next sounds, I'm doing a lot of collaboration now, actually, behind the scenes. I'm working with newer artists and artists that are established. Like I'm bringing different people into my world. I'm entering their world with the music. I'm, creating music with Tenny and
that's another fun
and adding
person to work with.
and adding Odussi on the same song.
Oh wow,
so much.
Play something now. We beg you.
Shout out to Tenny.
Yeah,
the married woman, right?
She's amazing. Creating songs with Pretty Boy Dio, Fowls.
These are all good people.
Pretty Boy, Fowls, Ladipo.
And all people that
on one record, on one song.
Oh wow.
Oh, that's amazing.
Creating
it's
songs
a posse cut?
With Joe Boy and Bodge.
Oh, very cool.
On the same project. Another artist that I'm so much in love with her voice is Leah. Leah, she signed to DeVito.
No,
female
I
singer.
heard her.
Actually,
I've seen her, but I haven't heard her.
Yeah, she opened for me in December, and I heard her live. Like, yo, she have such an amazing voice.
Where's she from?
She's Nigerian as well.
Lagos.
I'm not sure what part.
Very cool.
Created something magical with her, and like for me, just creating music with artists and tapping into different sides of them, and I can't wait to share what those collaborations sound like. And dope. I'm still creating more as I'm traveling, just connecting with different artists. I'm just creating music with people that I just connect with naturally. It's just getting better and better. I can't wait. Like the next phase it gets more exciting.
That's so dope to hear, because I don't know, like I've always, like, obviously, we have a relationship with Banky and a few other artists that have gone back home, So it's like you being able to get to do what you want to do, like it's a blessing. I don't know if you've like full blown taken it in.
Listen,
like it's a blessing.
So grateful
because it's like, I think when you grow up here, there's that you're Nigerian to the Americans and you're American to the people back home. You know what I mean? So to find that path, because there are going to be a whole lot more people coming behind you where they're like based here. Obviously, David, another person in Georgia with you. But a lot of kids are going to be here trying to figure out that prepared to be themselves when they get back home and also come back.
Just be yourself. Yeah,
it's easier said than done.
Honestly, it's easier said than done. It's easier said than done. But part of it is really just being yourself. You have to just be yourself, regardless of what your story is.
Because I feel like a lot of artists don't get that creative space yet until they prove themselves. You know, obviously you have a strong resume previous to even stepping foot into Nigeria. So a lot of people don't have that resume where the powers that be around them will say, do it this way. Because now when you get into it, there are people who are like, oh, this has worked. Do this.
Not just the resume, but the freedom. Some of
the freedom, though, it's beyond.
No, that I didn't, you know.
You know what? It's beyond resume, because even the resume, like when you get to Africa, it gets you in there, but doesn't mean that it will keep you in there.
Nope.
Because a lot of people go and run and come back.
Yep.
I feel like a lot of people didn't really expect me to stay as long as I've stayed and still continue to be part of the community. And for me, the next phase is just like I've been able to, with God by my side, man, it's not easy. I created like 4 projects without any major feature collaboration. It's not easy. And I've sustained that. Now people know my sound. You know what? It's easier to even collaborate now. I'm not, because I have a sound that people are familiar with now. And when I collaborate with people, I'm not just lost in that sauce. I'm just still representing myself while creating wider ranging, music and collaborations with my peers. So I can't wait to share that next phase. Like it's so beautiful.
Just teasing us with good music that we're not going.
What's the reception of the new project been like?
You know what? I haven't heard so much people say this is a masterpiece for the people that've heard it. It's not the most hyped album, but everyone that's heard it, it's been. I've had people say this is a masterpiece. Then this is a great album.
So do you think it's ahead of its time?
It's ahead of its time, but it's still now though.
Yeah, because there's that. We're moving so fast. Like whenever previously, when people say it's ahead of its time, I feel like it could be like a year later. Like Ye went through that with what's the one with that first album he made with the sound, with a different sound?
That's the Jesus,
right?
Oh yeah.
So it's like that took a lot more time, and then it's like, okay, this is the sound that's going on, and then you go back to
all my music take time. All my songs take time.
No, but I feel like now, like things are moving a lot faster.
Absolutely.
Because now people, and people are a lot more free with sound. That your album's out, somebody is running with a similar sound to you, and then before you know, people catch up to what it is you already put.
Absolutely.
Experimentation.
It's a lot more,
and now
it's like faster now.
Right, and
experimentation
like
is
the
pop
young
now.
boys back home. They are working.
Listen, I recently did a open verse challenge to one of my new songs, Press.
Okay.
And it was so amazing to see how much talent is out there. Like, bro, listen, it was so impeccable. It was so amazing. Like, there was too many talents. Like, I wanted to pick one person. I ended up picking 3, 2 guys and a girl. Right,
you probably weren't even satisfied.
Yeah, but the intention behind even that challenge was beyond just a challenge. The goal was to create an original song with the winner. I wanted, for me, I'm like, I write songs like in my sleep every day. I want to just like, you know what, time to start planting seeds and collaborating with even newer artists. Not just, we need more. We need more superstars, on God. And I felt like one was not enough because it was too many amazing artists. So I'm actually, next month, I'm going to have a studio session with the 3 artists, and I'm going to create an original collaborative song with them. And we're going to release that.
We would love to share that.
We're going to release that. Yeah.
We would love to share that.
I got Trace TV coming on board to document.
That's awesome.
Oh,
we're already,
wow.
like they partnered up media-wise to document the whole process. We're going to shoot a video.
We need that to share.
That's really cool.
I just didn't want to do a challenge just to get my song moving. I was very, like for me, I wanted it to be something because a lot of people want to work with me, and I just didn't want to just get them on the verse and let it go. If one of these artists become some of the next biggest superstars, the best feeling ever.
That's dope. We can't wait to share that when it's done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Completely off topic. What's your favorite food?
Favorite food is ofada rice.
Hey!
Ofada rice ati ayamashi. You know.
Ayama, you can't
You
go.
guys are friends.
Yeah,
You guys are
Ayama
friends.
That's a Bekuta and me
thing.
too. That's a
It's
family.
the thing.
that's
Like
a mistake.
Ayama with correct
A
a
sauteed
little bit
rice.
of everything.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Now, I have had this argument, right? I think ogbono is a low tier popular soup.
Yeah, it's good. I like it too. I just don't eat it. I don't eat
Like,
swallow.
I
as
just
much. I don't
feel
really
like
eat swallow.
it's just not versatile compared to the other popular soup.
Spell it.
Ve, si, and tile. Versi and tile. No, but
it is
it's just,
yen.
I always want to ask because I think egusi is top tier. I feel like egusi.
Egusi, yeah, it's it depends on who's making it too.
No, of course, but Ogbonna
I felt like there was some history.
Yeah,
there.
he's had a bad day.
He's had a toilet a few
I
times.
won't come to Auntie's house again.
I would
Some
not
certain things that I don't eat out.
Egusi again.
I rarely
Anything
eat egusi
vegetable
out.
based.
But like if it's not in family house, I'm not eating egusi out.
Emma J Egusi Asili Famo.
I hear that.
I'm not
Don't
eating
eat it.
ogbono out like that. I'm not eating.
So what are you willing to try out? Like, is it
I'll try
the
jollof rice,
the jollof, the frieds?
Different flavor, stew. People they have different. Yeah.
What's the best Nigerian restaurant in Atlanta?
In Atlanta?
Yes.
Question.
Because nobody seems to be able to answer the question when I
You know what?
I'm asking
For me,
someone.
man, like, I got to shout out to my man, Little Lagos.
Little
Okay.
Lagos, okay.
Yeah.
So if we're in Little Lagos, what are we ordering? Because we're planning on going to.
Get the jollof rice and like the fish, like
Okay.
the tilapia fish, like a whole fish,
Okay.
and it's with the sauce and stuff like that. Yeah, you can't. go
Have you
wrong
found
with
one in LA that you like as well?
that. Oh no.
No, LA does not have good
Oh, no.
Nigerian food.
He said,
Like,
Oh no.
LA's Nigerian culture is just.
And no shade if
Please
if
shade
a,
them.
shade there.
Shade
if
them.
a
They
restaurant
need to do
owners
better.
watching
This is the shade
this right
room.
now,
Do better.
This is the shade room.
and you know what, I've tried a few, and
It hasn't hit.
yeah.
It is what it is. LA's food culture is like London's food culture.
You want tacos?
it's
You want good
bad.
tacos? Go to
That's it. Street
you want the
tacos,
Mexican food?
amazing. Some of the Asian
Go to
dishes
LA.
are very
Taco
good.
Tuesdays be hitting different.
Yeah, but
Shout out to
Ninja,
Suave.
It's a whole community out there.
Taco Tuesdays.
but Ninja food over there, I've tried it. They were like, oh, this auntie, this person, you try it and it just doesn't hit.
If your auntie ain't lit in the streets,
Yeah, it has to be a home dish, and I haven't met someone that's like can hold it down in LA. It is what it is.
Yeah.
We're optimistic that it can happen, but
Shout out to ATL's Ninja culture though, because it's like
Shout out to the DJs, man.
yes.
Shout out to the-
It was Houston at first, but I think ATL is slowly creeping.
Yeah, shout out
go
to
ahead.
the DJs.
Run through some of the African DJs in Atlanta that.
Oh
shout out.
man, of course I mentioned DJ Equal.
Yes.
Man, DJ Fly.
Mhm.
Man, my I can't think of it. Like, shout out to everyone, man. Like, because the DJs, even before this new phase of Africa to the world stage, these guys were introducing the early sounds. They brought to where it started becoming cool to bring your American friends to the African club because they were having the best time.
Yep.
Because a lot of the American clubs, you're like this. Everybody's mean mugging and like you're frowning at the bottles and stuff, right?
I'm frowning at the bottle.
Bottles you paid
Mean
for.
mugging. Yeah, it's really like.
Do you not like money?
But no, for real. But like you come to the African clubs and everyone is like dancing.
Moving,
This
yeah.
is like really sweating and I felt like a lot of like even my American friends had the best time.
Yeah.
Because they just watch people have a good time. And that was the first addiction of like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go with my African brother to hit the African night.
Nah, they be
have a good
bothering you
time.
like,
Yeah.
when's the
Yeah.
next
What's
one?
the next function? What's the next
You know what I'm
wedding?
saying?
Yeah.
That was like the start. That was the start of
DJs
it.
are huge.
You know, damn, I can't. Oh man, I can't think of his name right now. I wish I could just remember. Even the DJs in Atlanta then that were like started like doing the radio shows.
Yes.
I can't think of this man's name right now.
While you're thinking of the name,
Yeah,
I'll
please
ask
think
you,
of it because we don't want no one mean mugging you.
No,
at the
no, no.
next
No,
club.
no. That's about just shout out to everyone, man. Like pushing.
what was the moment where you felt like African pop music, Afro beats, was crossing over into the mainstream in the States? Being that you were here, what was the record? that you were like,
Davido.
Which one? Which record?
Is it
Well,
Davido? If yeah, Davido for sure. And you know what? On Twitter is so much battle and the fans battling
Oh
and
my
stuff,
God.
right? But the reality of it is that like everything helps everything.
I've been saying
Do you know
this.
what I'm saying? It's like, you know, everything that the DJs did helped African artists.
Yep.
Every promotional work that Wiz did helped DeVito. Every promotional work David did, and everywhere he was going and performing and introducing the sound, made it easy for people to find everything else.
Absolutely.
All the stadium that Burner's performing and killing it, amazing performer, and all the great things he's doing is opening doors to other artists. People are just finding it.
Yep.
And it's such a chain reaction. And everything helps everything.
Listen, Burner just did Toyota Center, and what was that? A few years back, it was One Africa that was at Toyota Center. And I tell people all the time, we are very lucky to have great ambassadors for the sound.
Absolutely.
Like, because when you take a friend to these people's shows, they have a great time. They hear the
it's
music.
getting to the point where your non-African friends are letting you know stuff.
What's going on? Yeah.
Before Duke hits you.
Yeah. So it's amazing. Like, we have great ambassadors, and obviously the three popular guys, and then it goes to the next wave. And it's like everyone's doing a wonderful job. And you have, obviously, WurlD is out here telling us about all the sounds he's worked in and what he's interested in doing. And it's like, you can have, we're talking about African kids being inspired, but we have American kids too that are going to be inspired by what it is you're doing, because music is music. You know, like Bob Marley said, when it hits, you feel no pain. But it's just like, we have great ambassadors coming out the country or
and the collaborations are getting better too.
Every day.
There's more respect in the collaborations now. I remember living in Atlanta. You see, Atlanta was like a hub of a beginning of a lot. Shout out to P Square.
Yes. Oh yes, for sure.
Shout out to them because shout out to them and a lot of the early collaborations that we're doing then with Rick Ross.
Oh, they got Rick Ross.
All this, you know, I was around then, you know, just watching and just being inspired by those things that was happening.
Yeah.
And for me, all these little things, it's like every effort is a step forward every day.
I remember when Drake got on Ojua Legba.
Yeah.
It was just like,
do you realize
changed
do you realize that like the music is helping a lot of DJs now. More African DJs are getting more jobs because
he's
bro,
the DJ.
Like I was in Berlin. I was in Berlin. I was talking to a DJ. It was a Berlin festival that we did, and backstage we were just having a conversation. He was like, "Yo, I'm getting so much bookings being an Afrobeat DJ
that knows the sound."
But the reality of it is like, it was beautiful just to hear that conversation because everything is 360. Even more Afrobeat dancers on TikTok. Yes. Like literally, it's a 360 effect it's having. Even like the MCs and the people that are championing the conversations.
This podcast,
like you,
this podcast exists because
you know what I'm saying. It's information. Now we're sharing the stories every day. Much love to everybody, and that really like there's really no room to really be competing with each other. The collaboration is really what's going to create a stronger future for us in this space.
No, it's dope. Yeah. It's absolutely
and embracing each other. So for sure. Yeah.
It's absolutely dope. I always tell people it was African movies at first that we had pushing our culture. Like it was all over the place. And then you get the music, you got DJ. I remember when we'd hear Shaky Your Bum Bum, Timaya. That was the first.
That Shaky Your Bum. Just sounds like that's not what it's called in my collection.
No, but that was the song that was the first song that was hitting radios out here.
Well, yes. Well, because Tamaya was doing records with like Michelle.
Yeah, they thought it was Caribbean. Yeah, but it was the one way we got in, and then you go from there, and now we start again. You hear a Nigerian song on the radio, and you're just going about your day.
King too, same thing.
You go about your day, so it's been huge. It's been
a lot of the Afro dancehall stuff was able to kind of cross over
easily. Yeah.
Even Flavor, same reason why Flavor crossed over because they thought it was
Caribbean
Murder She Wrote because the rhythm was the Shaka Demons, right? Yeah,
it's been a dope journey, and I'm quite excited to see where else it goes. Like even you working with the winners of the competition, it's like obviously what you're saying, you love when the artist gets a fingerprint in the song.
Like my heart these days is just like I understand my position, I understand my value, in a humble way. I know myself, I know my contribution. And that for me, it's like we can have more superstars and just more. A lot of people have so much talent, and some people just need just more direction and stuff. I've learned so much. And I can't hold on to that. Like, it's just sharing.
Who are some of the mentors in your life or the people around you that you credit for that direction?
Family, my mother, family. Like for me, I've been inspired by just great artists and musicians. Most of these people have one thing in common: they always go against everything that was popular. And I feel like I'm cut from that same cloth.
Gotcha.
From it's like I get inspired. For example, you know how you sit, everything sounds like this, right?
Yeah.
And you hear that one artist that just comes and do something special, so different and fearless.
Yep.
And you're like, what is that? Those are the artists that inspire me. That's me. I found out like every artist that I've ever been inspired that moves me have that one thing in common. They just do one thing. Like you're like, what is this? I've never heard this before. That's what inspires me.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's absolutely dope.
Is there anything that you would like to impart on your fans that will be watching this right now? Any advice from your learnings that you would like to impart with like
appreciation,
a note of wisdom?
You know what? Today's just appreciation. I don't take the love for granted. Like some people really, really stand up for you. Lately there's been this conversation, even prior to me releasing this album, it was a very touchy conversation where a lot of people felt like, yo, WurlD deserves more. It became very touchy. It became very aggressive. But for me, it made me realize like, yo, people really genuinely care. Like, I don't even know you. This is my family. I don't call my fans, I call them fams. Family, because like these people really be going hard for you in private conversations. People be like arguing with people for hours, be like, yo, you have not heard this? And that energy, you feel that. And people will really stand up for you because they see you and they want the best for you. Like, that's my family. Like, I appreciate anyone that shares my music, that appreciates what I do, that fights for me. I just hope to connect, as I'm doing these tours. For me, I've done like 4 amazing projects in the past like 3 since 2019. And for me, it's like, you know what, time to I just want to connect with the shows and the tours. The catalog of music is just growing every day. So I'm just like connecting in the live space. Yeah.
Bet. So before we wrap, what are the singles off the new project, My WurlD With You?
My WurlD With You, release Spunk, another experimental record. That was like that. So this project has a lot of like, when you listen to it, you feel my ATO to Lagos energy. It's like I tapped more into hip hop, R&B, and Afro beats and soul music. There's like a lot of the influences. And really, this is all the type of genres of music that I've been exposed to. So you hear a lot of the ATL undertone with the R&B and the Afro beats in it. So I'm like fusing it. So Spunk is that experimental, sexual, sensual record. And Stamina, which is like the Amapiano soul approach. I had Let You Down, which is another experiment. A straight hip hop, very aggressive record. But this is me just really just being free. I'm just so free on this project. Press is a record that people are loving a lot these days since the album dropped. But there's so much gems in this album. I think I put almost too much in this album.
Too much gems.
I really did.
But like
I did. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a while for people to get around to them. I feel like different songs are going to hit at different times within the next 2 years.
Gotcha.
You think that people process your EPs or your LPs better?
We live in a single world, right? I have a song called Gucci on the album. It's probably one of the most soothing songs you're going to hear. One of my favorite, it's a double conversation. The reason why I made that song specifically, people like, yo, you're always so chill when I see you, you're always so calm. Your energy is consistently the same. Every time I see you, it's like, I have a lot of madness in my head that I'm containing. But every time you see me, I'm Gucci when you see me.
Right.
Take it all away. Take all these things away. I'm still, it's just the essence of self-love. There's a lot of self-love conversations undertone on this particular album. was like, yo, you can, we have to still love ourselves regardless of everything else is happening. That's what that song is really is about.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, so much. Yeah, just listen.
So much gems.
Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah.
I like that.
So where can your fans find you? Or your new fans from this episode?
Instagram, this is WurlD, THISISWURLD. Same thing on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I communicate actually. I try to communicate and respond as much as I can.
Can we get a commitment to some of those songs that you don't want to release being dropped?
Yeah. You know what?
Just yes or no. The camera is on you. No pressure.
Today, this is our introduction. Let me see how I feel after this. I'm still checking your energies.
Where there may be. Like, just,
Maybes
for
right
the
now.
fans.
Maybes right now. But, these songs...
Sweet in the Middle almost didn't come out. So, like, that would have been a crime.
There's a lot of...
That would have been a crime. So, it's like, maybe, some...
you know what's so crazy?
Saturday sessions where you vibe and then all the artists are listening.
I've learned. I pay attention to songs that I don't care for, that everybody cares for.
Interesting.
Like, I'm like, it's happened too many times. Show You Off was a song that I created, even when I made it. Everyone around me was like, yo, if you don't release song, I'm going to come and break your computer. And no, that was the energy. It's like, it was certain things. It's like, I may be like, experimental, but I pay attention to the energies around me.
It's funny, there's very few artists that give me, like, when I hear certain things, I'm like, if you don't put this out, I'm literally going to send Russians to your house.
And collect.
And I'm not have to say anything else. And you've worked with all of them, which is hilarious.
Yeah, this album literally I'm like fusing. Like I have like P Prime, I have Tells, I have Dr. Genius. Shout out to Dr. Genius. Sheezy. So for example, what I was doing, like Dr. Genius, he's Nigerian, but he's
based out here.
Yeah, he's Nigerian, but he's done
Cudi.
Most of all the best music you've heard from Kid Cudi. That's his friend as well too. It's like he did like 5 records on my album. I'm having him collaborate. I have like Dot on the same song with Tempo.
That's awesome.
I have Dot on the same song with Sheezy, Shine.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I have
good pair.
I have Tells with Dot the Genius on Saturday Night. That's Saturday Night is Tells and Dot the Genius.
That's really cool.
Prime was Let You Down. P Prime does all the Afrobeats record.
Yeah.
If you listen to Let You Down, it's the most left. You'd be like, this is P Prime. This is, for me, I love the essence of pushing. Even when I work with Afrobeats producers, I feel that they don't all know. I always look for those sounds that everybody else don't like.
I low-key love when P Prime steps out of the Afro space and does like R&B
If
stuff.
you listen to Lay You Down.
No, the work he's done with Oladapo too. Oh my God.
Yeah, amazing.
Oh my God.
That's the LA girl. Oh, I connected with
Oladapo. He's from Nigeria. He's from Lagos. He made this record.
Yeah.
P Prime produced called Proud.
Yeah, amazing.
Beautiful record. Harmonies, everything.
P Prime, he's like one of the most diverse new Afrobeat producers.
He's young.
He plays
special.
Young, like he
did a Naughty for Wiz.
Oh, okay.
His catalog right now is crazy. Actually, he has like a wide range, and he produced most of the Asha record. The song I collaborated with Asha on, Oceans.
Yes.
He produced that as well. I mean, like just so many. Like we are pushing the boundaries, and it's beautiful just to watch everyone just keep pushing to be the best version, and it's beautiful. It's only gonna get better. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, WurlD, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's been amazing to have you on the show.
This was a great conversation.
This has been long overdue.
Absolutely.
It would be awesome if we do a live show so we can force him to bring the hard drive.
Right.
Yeah, maybe one of these days. Mood. Just catch me in the right space.
We'll keep begging, Sha. Hey, WurlD. Hope you had a great breakfast today. Does today work for you?
Bawo wants to be an Afrobeats artist because he's very good at begging.
Please.
Right? You know how like all these Afrobeats artists?
Not anything for the anything for the listeners. Bros, anything for the listeners. Pull up to the studio outside the studio. He's coming out outside the studio. Anything for the listeners today.
Funny.
Have the headphone jack ready to just plug in.
Too funny, man.
That's funny.
Amazing.
WurlD, thank you so much.
Appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure to have you around.
It was great.
Appreciate it.
Support WurlD's project, My World with You,
Yes.
WurlD with a U, WURLD.
Thank you.
And don't rush. Listen.
Jelly.
It's a body of work. I feel like a lot of times.
I feel like everyone will find something. This one, you're definitely gonna find a piece of me that you connect with in this one. It's like, it's beyond just music. I really was sharing a lot of gems on this one. I went all the way there.
No?
Yeah.
Well, that's unquestionable. So yeah, please check it out. Listen to it. Give it some time. I always feel like people should listen to music in a different setting. It gets you differently. But yeah, check it out. Great body of work as usual.
Thanks
so
for having me.
Thank you for dropping
Appreciate
by,
it, my brother.
Thank you, fam.
Bless. Love. Thank you.
Always.
Thank you.
You don't know why it's going on.